What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today I'm really excited because we've got a very interesting Tanky Necro push build. We don't need any cooldown at all. This thing is really hard to kill. It's a really tough build and it's a mage push build, so really nice. Now in the background you're going to see me do GR 100. That's on the first try. I've got just under 1100 paragon, but I've only got 12 ancients, so it's a Legacy Dreams build, so an extra ancient would be a bit more damage. I've got a couple of really low level augments. The gems are level 100, so nothing crazy. We get good RNG on the map, but as you'll see in the footage, we're going to clear it with about 4 minutes to spare, so absolutely loads of room to grow in this build. Can certainly punch way past 100, but it's really nice to have a build that doesn't require cooldown and is really tough. Now before we jump in and look at the build, I just want to say welcome to everybody who's new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. The channel's just gone past 10,000 subscribers, which is absolutely nuts. Really happy, so thanks for subscribing, I love you all. Now a special shout out to the subscriber who put me onto this build. His name is Rad. Anyway, he's been emailing me a similar build. I've tweaked a few things and changed a few things, so I will talk about his changes at the end of the video, but without him I couldn't have done the video, so thank you very much. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So guys, this is a mage build, but first and foremost it's a Legacy Dreams build. So we're going to be taking the new Legacy of Dreams gem. When we have no set bonuses equipped, legendary items give us a power increase, so 375% damage at max rank, and we also get a damage reduction of 2%. Both of these values are doubled because once you get the gem up to rank 25, we get this secondary effect which doubles it for ancient items. So the goal is to have 13 ancients in, so an ancient in every slot. That would give you 9,750% extra damage and would give you 52% damage reduction. I'm actually missing the belt, so I've only got 12 out of the 13 slots ancient, but the rest of them are ancient and it still works pretty well. We're going to be taking Skeletal Mage. No surprises here, it's Singularity. We consume all of our essence, and the more essence we consume, the more powerful our mages. So we need the essence pool to be at max or near max when we cast mages, because they will do extra damage. We also want max essence as a secondary wherever we can get it. Now the mages are going to be buffed primarily by our weapons, so this is the Scythe of the Cycle, so 400% additional damage to secondary skills whilst bone armour is active. We will be taking bone armour, so that's fine, so we're going to get this 400% multiplier. Only thing you got to worry about is whenever you pump mages out, you will reduce bone armour duration by 4 seconds, but fortunately for us this is on a 10-second cooldown, so we don't really have too many problems. It's only if you forget to reactivate this that it'll become a problem. Now the other weapon we're going to take is Tragul's Corroded Fang. This is going to give us a 200% damage increase for cursed enemies. So we're going to be applying a curse manually with the Grim Scythe. So because of the secondary on Tragul's Corroded Fang, we only have to hit an enemy to get a curse on it. So provided we've hit an enemy, we'll then take extra damage, which is really nice. A mage build isn't complete without the Circle of Nilusi Vault. This will give us an extra mage, so when we cast them we're going to get 2, and they're going to last longer, which is an extra 4 seconds, so that's really nice. Speaking of extra mages, we also have Simulacrum, so this will give us double mages again, so when this is up we're going to put out 4 instead of 1, and because of the reservoir room we're also going to double our max essence, so in theory they'll be at double essence, so that's double damage. Now it's a no cooldown build, so this isn't up all the time, but it's there pretty much because I can't think of anything better. We'll chat about that when we get to the skills. Now Necro builds are not complete without Crispin Sentence, so this will give us a up to double damage against enemies that are slowed. Because we have the Bane of the Trapped, we have a slowing aura, so that will pretty much always be procced provided we're next to our target. The Bane of the Trapped also gives a multiplier as well, which is really nice. Now the second part of Crispin's, we have to have some other type of control impairing effect. Now we do have the stun on bone armour, so that's really nice, so that will stun enemies around us, but it's on a 10-second cooldown. I've promised you no cooldown, so we need another way of proccing it, and we're pretty much going to do that with the Blind Faith Helm. So the secondary can roll up to 40% chance to blind on hit. That's really nice because the Grim Scythe, as we swipe away, we can hit multiple enemies. That means we've got multiple chances to proc this 40%, and you will find that you blind quite a few enemies because you just whack away, and they do get blinded, and that's nice, and they take extra damage and proc from the crispins. Mages are also buffed by Tasker and Theo, so we increase their attack speed, which is just straight up more damage. We're also going to take the Enforcer gem, so again another multiplier on the mages. So the mages hit like an absolute truck because we've got Legacy of Dreams, Scythe of the Cycle, Tragul's Corroded Bang, Tasker and Theo, Enforcer, Trapped, Crispins. So all those things together are absolutely super damage. Now in theory you could take a Ledger's Disdain and this would give us an extra damage boost to Grim Scythe, but if the mages are kind of like hitting something with a truck, this is more akin to hitting something with a pillow. It does do a little bit of damage, but probably not worth to bother with. For instance, I'm running a lost time just because I like the stats on this better. So that covers the mechanics of the damage of the mages. We now just need essence to be able to cast them as much as possible. Now we have a generator, so Grim Scythe whenever we hit will be 12 essence per enemy. You can hit multiple enemies with this, so obviously you can get 2, 3, 4 times this, just depends how much density you've got. So that's one way, but the main way, to be honest, no surprises, is going to be Devour on Numlock. This will auto consume corpses for us in a 60-yard radius, gives 10 essence per corpse. So then the question becomes, how are we getting our corpses? Well, the main way that we're going to get them is through the Golem Skin Breaches and the Command Golem. So every 45 seconds we can pop this guy down and he gives us 8 corpses in a pile. But because we're going to take the Golem Skin Breaches, the cooldown is reduced by up to 25 seconds. So 20 seconds minus our cooldown, we'll be able to get a pile of corpses. That's really nice. We'll also get them from Reseth's Volition. So the mages gain the effect of the Gift of Death rune. That just basically means when they die, they leave a corpse. We will auto consume it and get more essence. Because the Requiem Cereplate, if we do get to max essence and we are still devouring corpses, we will get more essence over time over the next 3 seconds. We don't benefit from the life, but we do get the essence, and then we'll talk about that in the skills. Now corpses are also really important because with life from death we have a 1 in 4, 1 in 5 chance of getting a health globe when we consume a corpse, and that's really handy because we're going to take the Reaper's Wraps and that will give us a 30% or up to 30% extra primary resource when we consume a health globe. So 3 health globes is pretty much max essence and another set of mages. So bear in mind when you do get your simulacrum and you have activated that, you definitely want to be trying to gobble up those health globes to fill this up as quickly as possible. And of course guys, another really great way of creating corpses is your mages will just dump on things, and as you kill stuff, corpses are on the ground. So that deals with the damage, that deals with how we're going to get the essence to be able to cast the mages. I promised you tanky, so let's go through the toughness. We've already covered the Legacy of Dreams, which gives us 52%. We are taking the Golem Skin Breaches, that's a 30% damage reduction, that's really handy. We're going to take a Dainty's Binding, that's up to 50% damage reduction provided we have a cursed enemy. We are always going to have a cursed enemy with the Tragul Corroded Bang, so that's nice. We've also gone for Unity. This is another doubling of toughness, so provided our follower has one and they have a token that renders them invulnerable, we're going to get a doubling of toughness there. We're also going to take the Wisdom of Kalon, so we now get 15 stacks of bone armor instead of 10. So at 10 stacks it's 30% damage reduction, and at 15 it's 45, so it's almost another doubling of our toughness. We also, because of the Blind Faith Helm, avoid a lot of incoming damage. Blinded monsters aren't going to hit us, but the real kicker in terms of this build is the Stone Gauntlets. What these do is whenever you get hit, you get 50% armour. This stacks up to 5 times, whopping 250% armour, which for the Necro is absolutely huge. Now this comes with a huge downside. It reduces your movement speed by 15% and reduces your attack speed by 20%, again stacking up to 5 times, but we can completely remove that secondary negative effect by taking the Ice Climbers. The secondary on here, gain immunity to freeze and immobilize effects. That completely takes away any negative effects from the Stone Gauntlets. So provided we've been hit a few times, we're going to have a huge 250% armor buff, and that is absolutely massive for the Necromancer. So just to be clear guys, you can't take the Ice Climbers off. If you do, you will just basically, you'll still be really tough because the Stone Gauntlets, you just won't be able to move or attack very fast, so you obviously don't want to do that. Now looking at the skills, we also gain toughness from 2 of our skills, so Devour we've talked about. We're going to take Satiated. This will increase our maximum life by 2% for 2 seconds, so we can get this up to an extra 50% life. Because there's so many health globes around and we're consuming corpses to generate more health globes all the time, because we've obviously, generate life on hit from our paragon and stuff, we will be at near enough full health quite a lot of the time. So this is better than taking Cannibalize for me. So the Grim Scythe Curse Scythe is really interesting because of the Tragul's Corroded Bang in the cube. We now have a 100% chance to inflict a curse on an enemy when we hit it. So if we hit an enemy enough times, we will eventually get all 3 base effects. So Decrepify, the base effect gives us a slow, but importantly it reduces the damage of the enemy by 30%. This is really handy for the Rift Guardian, so we'll pretty much have a 30% debuff. We also get Leech, so we get extra healing. That's really nice, pairs really well with the Devour rune, because the Satiated increases our life and we get more healing. And then Frailty, we cut off the health of the Rift Guardian at 15%, and pretty much any other enemy for that, provided we get the Frailty on them, then they're going to have a 15% reduction in health, so that's really nice. Singularity, straightforward, we've mentioned that. Bone Arm Dislocation we've covered as well, same for Simulacrum Reservoir and Command Golem, Flash Golem. I personally wouldn't change any of these skills. I think this is pretty much the way that I would run the build. Moving on to the passives, we've covered Life from Death. Overwhelming Essence seems a bit of a no-brainer. More Essence is more damage on the mages. Extended Servitude again seems like a no-brainer because it is slightly hard to keep 8-10 mages out, so the longer they last, the more chance you've got of this. Now, the most debatable passive is probably Dark Reaping. I've gone for it because 2% essence per kill is still useful. It does help us put out more mages, which is more damage. More mages is more corpses from Gift from Death, which is more health globes. And also the extra health when we kill enemies is really nice because it pairs quite well with Satiated. So again, it's another source of regen for our boosted up health pool. Now in theory, you could swap it out for either Commander of the Risen Dead, and you would be able to utilise your golem more, which again would be more corpses, more globes, so that could be a way to go. Spreading Malediction could be extra damage. The more enemies you curse, the higher this figure will go. I'd say this is probably not particularly worth it. It's rare you can have lots of cursed enemies on the screen. You could go for Blood is Power to get a 20% cooldown spike if you took a lot of damage. That would give you access to Simulacrum, which could potentially be helpful. And then the normal obvious one is Final Service. This will destroy all your mages, which sucks, but it is a cheat death. Now I don't actually take this because losing your mages sucks, and if this is a push build, you're pretty much going to have to get off to a good start anyway to normally push as high as possible. So you're going to be looking to doing it without dying. You don't want to consume your mages, it's a bad thing anyway, so I've left it off. Obviously if you're playing hardcore, you're going to have to take this, but you can muck around with it. You know, I'm not 100% set on Dark Reaping, but I do think it is the best at the moment. So in terms of Rad's build, he has pretty much put a curse in place of Simulacrum. So he's gone for Decrepify with Dizzying Curse, and that will give a 10% chance on hits to be stunned for 2 seconds. So that's another proc of Crispin's, which is nice. He's also actually gone for Syphon Blood with Bloodsucker to suck up health globes to keep your essence all the more higher. Now I've played with both, and I think that having the utility of all 3 curses is really nice, and I also think the Simulacrum is very nice for the double damage. It's not up all the time, but I think it probably gives us a bit more utility than simply picking a rune on a curse. And if you get a cooldown pylon, you'll get an extra go of this, or extra couple of goes of it, and it also really helps with keeping 4 mages out. 4 mages per cast helps with keeping 10 out, so it is quite useful. So that's the way I like it, but by all means you can swap it around. In terms of stats, guys, I'll do a D3 planner link with all of the requested stats. We don't need cooldown at all. I've got 17%, which is obviously pretty low. I probably wouldn't have it on my shoulders in an ideal world, but these are from a different build. And the reason that we're not going to go for cooldown is because the extra damage of Simulacrum is nice, the extra mages are nice, but the extra toughness really does help. One of the things that makes this build very, very tanky. But what I would say in terms of stat priorities, you want max essence on your weapon and on your offhand. You also want to get skeletal mage damage on your boots, probably your offhand as well, and then I'd go for crit chance on your helm. And element of choice is going to be physical, so you want physical percent on your amulet and on your braces. That's it guys, as you can see GR100, the gear isn't fantastic, it could be improved with level 120 augments in every slot and a couple of thousand paragon. This should be able to rocket past stuff pretty quick, particularly if you had level 120, 130 gems. You know, it will go pretty high, and it's quite easy to play, it's quite chill, you just swipe away with your scythe and the mages do the work for you. So that's it guys, I hope you liked the video, I hope you liked the build, leave me a thumbs up if you do, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.